Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris, welcoming you to a very special edition, a shortened version in fact of the Channel 5 News. Today we're basically taking a look at the preparations, some of the preparations around as we anticipate the arrival of Tropical Storm Kirk.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001-275-5003 today.
I'm standing on the beachfront in the community of Maho, and around me a few boats there, but I'm told by some of the residents that these boats you see here will not be here for too long, especially if they begin to experience difficulties with high sea swells and so on. So these boats will eventually find themselves somewhere around the market area. But there are other concerns that the residents of Maho have as far as the safety of the community. The river is one of the main issues of concern to the people in the community here, because what happens, as one lady told me earlier, is that when it rains heavily, when the river floods, what happens is it crests its banks, and basically what you have is flooding of the entire area. I'm told that in some instances you have flooding as far as all the way down to the credit union area. So it's a serious issue for the people of Maho, but they're trying their best to, as you can see, to prepare ahead of the storm. The fishermen, obviously, the boats are major investments for them, and they have to secure their investments. Initially, you generally think that taking the boats off the beach and dragging them up towards the market area is safe. But interestingly, one guy here is telling us that the boats are not entirely safe because they're really not secure around here.
Yeah, as you can see like, well, all the boats on them, yeah, they are, we already pulled them up. But now they are not safe there because, for instance, that river there, that's so dangerous. When that river starts to come down, the amount of debris and the river starts to be like any river, any big river there. Even right there you see them boats are there. Now, come the last bad weather we had there, we lost about four boats there, right there. And we tied them there, we had a post, we tied them on the post there. They are not bursting rope. So you can see that none of them boats are safe there. None of them, not even at the market.
So you're saying it's much more than just dragging the boats up. You have to secure them. You have to tie them to something, secure them.
Right now they won't, because they don't tie. We have got nothing to tie them. Yeah. They're just there. And like, well, if the river bursts out, we're going to lose everything. For me, none of them boats are safe there.
Okay. But you were mentioning, you were floating an idea earlier as to what could happen, an alternative.
Well, what I was thinking of happening, like if we could have get a crane truck, if nothing serious, I believe the best thing we'd have to do, get a crane truck and pay the crane truck. If it's a higher, we get the crane truck and take out all the boats on them there. And that's the only way the boats on them can save there. But otherwise, no boats will save there. Sure. If the river bursts out, we're going to lose all the boats there. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, cool. So basically you're hearing, according to this gentleman, it's a risky behavior to just leave the boats lying around here. They're not tethered to anything, they're not tied to anything, they're not secured. And his option would be to take them to higher ground. One of the important announcements made in the interest of the safety of the children of this country is that schools would be shut down today. Obviously, you can see an example of this here where the Massac Primary School, Canefield Massac Primary School, is pretty much shut down today. This is an indication of what's happening in the wider country, so students can be safe. This is really the idea behind shutting down the schools, to ensure that students are safe. And here is one of the familiar sights in recent times and years, as we've always seen in the anticipation of any disaster. You see people filling up and making sure that their vehicles are ready, they have the fuel that they need. So these appear to be going out of town, but you can see they may very well be heading home. For whatever the reason, it's important that they fill up, and that's what's happening here. there's already quite a little line beginning to form there, and don't be surprised if it, there we go, I was just about to say, if that line continues to extend. So don't be surprised if you see that happen. So this is the sort of thing that you would see under these sort of circumstances where we are expecting to feel the effects of Tropical Storm Kirk later this afternoon. Okay, here we are in the city of Rosa, and as you can see, obviously businesses have shut down, workers having the day off today, and there are some crews around still making sure that they board up large areas of glass on some companies and some business and some buildings. As you can see here at the Shine Union facility here on Old Street, you can see this crew of 3 basically trying to board up these glass panels there on these business houses, making sure that things are kept safe. It's largely done already on one end of the building. You know, there's quite a bit of protection there already. But take a note also that the streets are pretty deserted, quite frankly. Here and there you might see an individual going this way or that, but generally speaking it appears that people have adhered or are adhering to the warnings to prepare, and basically that's what they would be obviously doing now. You do not see too many people out, except I would believe for those people who need to be out at this time to make certain critical preparations ahead of Kirk moving our way later this afternoon. The financial district is also shut down today. The banks are basically closed. You can see First Caribbean is closed at this time of day. Normally there would be activity going on. The National Bank of Dominica is also closed. So generally you get the picture that business is pretty much shut down for today. Although interestingly, based on a comment that the Prime Minister made this morning, it is to be noted that these days that we generally have away from work has a cost to it. So this is something that we, I guess, have to keep in the back of our minds. But in anticipation of the storm, there's pretty much nothing you can do but to put the safety of your employees, the safety of the general public first. Even if we know in the back of our minds there will be costs to these institutions, these companies who will be bringing nothing in today as far as business is concerned. As we mentioned earlier, businesses of course are shut down today, closed, and courts, just outside courts there you can see the sandbags. You know, Rosa is known for flooding, so people are doing their best, you know, in whichever way they can, whatever small way they can, as much as possible to protect their businesses from flood waters, and this is just an example of that. This is a pan now of the Rosa market. On a normal Thursday morning you would of course see a bustling marketplace, lots of vendors and lots of produce, but obviously you can see people are anticipating something, people are anticipating the storm, and they've decided this is not a day to be out there at the Rosa market. As you can see, there's evidence in the city that generally people are taking the warning seriously in terms of letting workers stay off work today. And the DAIC itself has issued a statement, and I have it here. It says the general public is advised by the government of Dominica that today, Thursday, September 27, it'll not be a working day today in light of Tropical Storm Kirk, the anticipation of the storm. The statement goes on: we encourage our private sector to be vigilant in the wake of this approaching weather system and to continue to stay abreast with other official weather advisories. It goes on: we further encourage our private sector to implement all necessary precautions to protect yourselves, families, employees, and business assets during and after Tropical Storm Kirk. So this was a statement here from the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce. Right now we're on High Street outside Wasco's headquarters in Rosa, and as was announced, as they normally do ahead of any storm of this nature, Wasco will shut down. They've announced they'll be shutting down the water system at midday today, and that this for a number of reasons. One of them is that they would like to protect the system from the infiltration of silt and other debris during storms, so they always shut down the system before that. But also there's another reason, being that they want to ensure that the guys, their staff who have to go out there and do these things, do it ahead of the arrival of the storm itself for their own safety. So that's another major consideration for the company. So these are just some of the reasons why they will be shutting down at midday today. They, of course, it will be shut down according to the public relations officer until further notice, until such time as they can restore that service shortly after the passage of the storm. This is the Rubia River, and there was some concern, of course, because you have people living near the river and flooding can be a problem. But we were told by some of the residents in the area that the river was dredged earlier, about a month or so ago, and that might make a big difference. So even if flooding might be expected, the fact that the river was dredged earlier on, about a month or so ago, it will make a huge difference in terms of the level to which the water would rise and the impact it would have. So this is for them a plus. However, they're still vigilant, they're still making sure they keep their eyes open as far as the impact of the flooding, which is likely to take place as a result of the arrival of Tropical Storm Kirk. So the house you're looking at right now was seriously affected during Hurricane Maria, and it took quite a bit of work to clear that building, to clean it up once again. We with Channel 5 News was, of course, on the scene as well when the gentlemen finally finished up that project of cleaning up that house. And today they have to think again of, you know, the likelihood of more flooding in that area.
The hurricane that passed last year, it wasn't a nice thing, but in the process of that, I lose my 2 children, and the house you're watching there is just what that remained. The next one on the little side was my auntie on the river, take all that, and after all that, my brother, we just see nothing, no help, no from nobody. So we're still there because we don't have nowhere else to go, and we need of help, maybe a piece of land or something. Because if a hurricane or a bad weather come, every time a bad weather comes, my brother tarpaulin is still on my house, and every time I have to think of somewhere to go for the night. Because the rain, a whole year tarpaulin on your house, my brother, that's starting to leak all so is that we suffer in there, and they say they're not fixing there for us. So
if you had the option to move, you would move?
Yes, my brother, if I had anywhere, if I had a piece of land somewhere, or house somewhere, we're looking to see what we can get to buy or anything, as long as it's to take out my family there, you check. It's not easy, my brother, to lose, for a woman to lose 2 children. I know, since I growing up, I know women just lose 1 child. But for a woman to lose 2 children one time, my brother.
Really tragic situation. But does that make you more concerned, knowing that with the approach of Kirk today, there might be flooding again? Does that make you concerned?
Well, we have somewhere to go. I mean, since last night, we shift already, but we just come back for the morning to see what's happening. But anything about bad weather or nothing, we coming out there. We have to come out there because we can't stay there, because I don't know what I mean, we're really telling you it's true they put stones and barricade it properly to make a wall, but we don't know what can happen after that, what can transpire, you check, because we don't know what amount of rain that can fall.
Basically, Red Cross is on standby, and our preparedness activities are on the way. We are presently at the National Society, we are ensuring that the building is secured. We have put up our shutters, and our ambulances, our vehicles are filled with petrol, and we have our alternative source of water, our tanks are filled, etc. We have also placed all our volunteers on standby, and the community disaster response teams that we are working with in the various communities. We are in constant contact with them and place them on standby. Our branches are alerted. We have 8 branches throughout the country, so we have placed them all on alert, and they're on standby. They know in the event of anything that they would contact the Red Cross, and we are in touch with them. And we also have in place our Federation delegates. They have been on island since Maria, so they are well placed now to support the National Society, and they are here right now. So I can see that Red Cross is as prepared as we can be in the event that any adverse effects as a result of Tropical Storm Kirk.
A flood warning in effect for Dominica from 2 p.m. Thursday as the country expects to receive 4 to 8 inches of rain from Tropical Storm Kirk. As of the 11 a.m. update, Tropical Storm Kirk was located near latitude 13.8 degrees north and longitude 59.3 degrees west. The system was moving towards the west-northwest at 15 miles per hour, and this general motion with a slight decrease in forward speed is expected to continue over the next few days. The center of Kirk was projected to move across the Les Antilles in the tropical storm warning area by Thursday evening. The countries under tropical storm warning are Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, and St. Lucia. Maximum sustained winds remained near 50 miles per hour and extended 140 miles from the center of Tropical Storm Kirk. Periods of moderate to heavy showers, occasional rain, and scattered thunderstorms are expected Thursday into Friday. Prime Minister Skerritt has called on Dominicans to guard against complacency as the country braced for Tropical Storm Kirk on Thursday. On Wednesday night, the Prime Minister announced that schools would be shut down on Thursday. On Thursday morning, it was declared that there will be no work for the public sector, and the private sector was asked to follow suit. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt says government will go to all lengths to ensure the safety of the people and the state. He cautioned the Dominican public to remain vigilant, especially since some may not be worried, given that the past two storms forecast to affect the country did minimal, if any, damage.
And I know natural, normal human behavior is that after a while you will feel that this is the nuisance little boy shouting wolf, wolf when there's no wolf. And you say, well, no storm is going to come, and let's forget about these fellas and so forth. They don't know some coming. They said Barry was coming, it didn't come. They said Isaac was coming, it didn't come. And look at Kirk again. I'm not in that business. I'm going about my life as if nothing's going to happen. I want to caution us against the temptation. It's a natural temptation to think that way and to eventually behave in that way, because we do not have to go back very far in our memory to relate to instances when we would have taken things for granted or not prepared ourselves as individual households.
The Prime Minister stressed that weather systems are dynamic and safeguarding life and property should not be taken for granted.
With the frequency of the storms, all of which have been predicted by scientists, say to us that they will become more frequent and also more ferocious. And again, the behavior of Kirk reminds us that we must not take anything for granted. So we were monitoring Kirk for the last few days. Then it was recognized that it had become, there was no formation of it, and that it would have died a natural death. But it resurrected. It formed itself back, almost like in a twinkle of an eye. And so unless these things pass us completely, we're not out of the hook. And those of us who have good memory would recall Lenny. Lenny actually passed us and did a boomerang on us. It came back to us and destroyed the west coast of Dominica, which has cost us millions of dollars to construct sea defenses along almost the entire west coast of Dominica. If you drive from Scottshead to Capuchin, you will see all of these retaining walls, sea defense walls, in large measure responding to the ravages of Lenny and also the climate change and its impact on our coastlines, its impact on our way of life in our country. So this is why this government and the National Emergency Planning Organization, we're not taking anything for granted, and we're not leaving anything to chance.
In anticipation of Tropical Storm Kirk, all emergency shelters were opened from Wednesday night.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
This has been a shortened version of the Channel 5 News placing special emphasis on some of the preparations ahead of the arrival of Tropical Storm Kirk on Thursday. So on behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching and please stay safe.